Hello, how are you? Welcome to my channel. I'm Hela Duidar from Egypt. In this video, I'm going to talk about a very new subject. Some of us know what is Kalila and Demna. Some of us know Kalila and Demna. It's a book, but it's a book that was written by a Hindu monk in the very ancient times, and it is very effective in raising the IQ of kids, and it's even very good for adults. Adults can really benefit from this book. It's really addictive, and it's like riddles and mysteries, and very, very eye-catching and ear-catching stories. It has a lot of beautiful stories. It was written at a time when there was a king called the Bashlin. I really can't. Yes, the Bashilim. It's very hard for me to remember names in this book, and as you see, I'm using an English copy of the book. I see many of us are struggling these days, especially the ones who are working in nurseries and the ones who are working in schools and the ones who are working in mental hospitals and the ones who have kids, of course. Why I'm saying mental hospitals, especially centers that are made for autism cases and Down syndrome cases. They need to raise their common sense and IQ, which is very hard to do. These people and these kids, they need that, and it's very hard. So it's not impossible. Once upon a time in 2014 or 13, I can't remember when, I saw a very beautiful video that I really cried when I saw it. There was once, I think this video is deleted somehow from the internet. There was a family in Saudi Arabia who had a severely autistic child who is inside his bubble all the time. And the school that he was admitted to and the doctors, they all said there is no hope. He has to have a specific amount of money made for him for a center to withdraw it every month for life. He has to stay inside like a clinic or a hospital for life. But his parents said no. They defied what the society said. So they sent him to a center where they used movements, body movements, raising IQ by very, very beautiful stories and highly smart stories. It's even more beautiful than Detective Canon stories. Part of the healing process and the protocol was Kalila and Demna. And after 20 years, he became a businessman. He became one of the most successful businessmen in Saudi Arabia or in the Gulf. I can't remember the video, but he was wearing like a Gulf galabeya. It's a galabeya, like it's the very long white cloak that men wear in the Gulf area, whether it's Saudi Arabia or Emirates. I can't remember the nationality of the people in the video, but it's such a beautiful story. Imagine having a child who has no hope in life, ending up having very high IQ and being one of the most successful businessmen. I'm going to start story number 1 and story number 2 in Kalila and Demna today. But before I start, let me tell you the history behind it. I didn't do the research, but it was written by a sage, a Hindu sage, and it was written at a time in the ancient times, and there was a king, the Bashlim, that was his name. He was very, very moronic. He knew nothing about life, literally nothing at all, because his parents told him, "You're the best child ever." Until someone called Bit Pai, it's like a monk, or like he's a storyteller, but one of the very wise people, like the sage Luqman in the Arab tradition. Luqman is even mentioned in the Quran. He's very, very wise. there was a storyteller called Bit Pie. He visited this court, this palace, and he told him, "Do you know anything about life? Do you know what are the sufferings of the poor? Can you solve any situation? Can you run away from an attack of cats, for example, or attacks of lions? Do you know how to save rainwater?" He knew nothing at all. This king knew nothing. So Bit Pie told him, "You are moron, or you're stupid." So the king ordered Bit Pie to be in prison, and he sentenced him to death. However, on the very night where he ordered the storyteller to be killed, he had a dream that made him stop killing Bit Pie. So the Bashilim ordered Bit Pie to be released from the dungeon. How do you say it? It's the dungeon, or like it's a place where they imprison people before going to the hanging cell. So why did this dream happen? I really didn't understand from reading the Buddhist book, but there was like a manuscript or a letter written by a deceased king who once lived in this palace, and he kind of wrote a prayer or like an order for the king, this specific moronic king, to listen to Bit Pie's stories. So Bit Pie started to tell stories to this king, and he really liked them a lot, but he had to leave. And then the king said he was so sad that Bit Pie started wanted to leave. You know, when you're sitting with a very wise person, he is telling jewels and gems of stories and information, you feel so sad that he wants to leave or she wants to leave. So after some years, Bit Pie returned again and started telling the stories, the remainings of the stories. He was actually saying the solutions for humans' unhappiness is very simple and it doesn't cost money. I'm still in story number 2, so I will be reading it and recording videos with you. But when I read it, I felt so sad that I don't have time. Errands in my days. I wish I can read all of these 200 pages in one night. They are very good. They can raise my intelligence, my IQ. They can make me solve a lot of information and a lot of problems in our daily lives. No, it's not kids. It's only for adults. It's all for also for adults and kids, mental patient, mental disabilities, even the people who think they are the most intelligent in our world, they have to read Kalila and Demna. You know my YouTube page, my YouTube channel, and now only today I started having the Facebook page with the same name, Shkole. You have videos in my YouTube channel having very smart and intelligent, stories. You can listen to them. But story 1 from Kalila and Demna. Once upon a time, there was a monkey called Speckleface. Like, let me, it's very hard for me to remember these names. So, yes, Speckleface in India. He was jumping around the trees of the Manipura River. And there was a crocodile called Snaggletooth. Snaggletooth? Yes. Once upon a time, Snaggletooth was swimming in the river and he asked Speckleface, "What are you throwing in the river? It looks very interesting." "What is that?" "Small, balls." "What are you eating and throwing in the river?" The monkey, Speckleface said, "Figs." You don't eat them. You are animal eaters and meat eaters. You are all the crocodiles, meat eaters, and animal eaters. You would eat me alive if I go down to this river. He said, no, I'm more interested in you than your flesh, because without you, there are no figs. It's as simple as that. So they started talking about so many things: family, friends, kingdoms, and areas where they rule. Like, for example, Snuggle, yeah, what is it? Snaggletooth. Like, he has a specific area island where he is ruling it, and he was controlling the area and saving it, protecting it from attacks, outsider attacks from other crocodile kingdoms. And they became really close and they became very good friends, extremely good friends. It's very unlikely for a crocodile to be very friendly with a monkey and giving it back rides on the river. So it's Speckletoes is giving Speckleface free rides in the river without asking him for anything. And they trusted one another. But this crocodile's wife, Buttercup, yes, Buttercup, felt that her husband changed a lot. He became less violent and he started spending a lot of time outside of his island. And she asked him, Buttercup asked Snaggletooth, what are you doing? He said, I have a new friend. It's a monkey called Speckleface. We are very close and I love him so much, dear wife. I love him so much. I like to spend time with him. She was very angry and she doubted that this monkey was a female monkey and her husband is having an affair with her. So she didn't like it and she had a meeting with her best crocodile friends, like their best friends from the crocodile kingdom, the female ones, thinking out what to do. So one day, one of her best friends told her, "You better trick your husband Spaggletooth or Snaggletooth to get you this monkey. We gotta make sure that this is not a female." So she laid down on the bed with him one day and they spent time together, eating, drinking, and she said, I'm too ill. I'm becoming very weak and too ill. And Snaggletooth said, you look so ill. She said, only a monkey's heart will cure me. Can you get me the monkey's heart? Otherwise, I will die. And she was getting really thin and really fragile. So he went to the river feeling very sad and very ashamed of himself. I will sell my friendship with my best friend just because of my wife. He was diving into the water very slowly while shaking. And until he reached his friend, Speckleface the monkey. He said, my wife wants to invite you for dinner to see, and she wants to let you see our kingdom and make friends with other monkeys. And he said, I really doubt that. I don't feel safe going to the crocodile's island. I do have a feeling that I will be eaten up. He told him, no, we do have trees and we do have berries and we do have cherries. You can climb them if you feel unsafe. And then he took a ride on the crocodile's back. But the crocodile, Snaggletooth, suddenly shaked and let out a certain cry that the monkey, Speckleface the monkey, felt its energy and vibration and felt the danger. So he told his crocodile friend, where are you taking me and why? If you don't get me back to the tree. I will not come with you and I will drown myself. Not in this case, it's not mentioned in the story, I will drown myself, but somehow he convinced his best friend, the crocodile, to tell the truth. So the crocodile cried and told him that my wife wants to eat your heart because she's very sick. And the doctors, her inner doctor in this case, told her that the only thing that will cure her is the crocodile's heart, the monkey's heart. And she, like he said, wait a moment, my best friend. I left my heart at the tree. The Snaggletooth the crocodile said, how come you left your heart at the tree? The monkey Speckleface said, we monkeys have two hearts, one that's fed on love and one that's fed on fear, danger, and hate. That is true, but we don't say this out loud because we don't want to let our secrets out in in the crocodile kingdoms. The Snaggletooth the crocodile couldn't really believe that, but I was so happy to believe this story. And when he took his friend, the monkey, back to the tree, the monkey said, you are a stupid idiot. You believe that I have two hearts? No, I don't. And I will never see your face again. Never. So the crocodile said, please, please, I want to be your friend. I want to see you again. He said, no, I will not be that story number two. I will not be like Flopears. Flopears. It's Flopears. Flopears, the stupid donkey. Monkeys don't have a D in their name, they have an M. We're not donkeys, we're monkeys. Wow, smart. So, Flopiers, the donkey, was eaten because he did not learn the lesson and went with the jackal, Smiley the jackal. That's story number two. So, Snaggletooth the crocodile told his monkey friend Speckleface, tell me the story of Flopiers. Said once upon a time in the village there was a donkey called Flopiers. He was eaten up by both the lion and the jackal because he didn't learn from the lesson. There was once a lion called Skinty. It's Squinteye. Skinty or Skinty. It's very hard. Like a lion named Skinty and a jackal named Smiley. The lion was severely affected because of a fight with an elephant and he broke his shoulder or back. And he didn't go for hunting. And the jackal Smiley lived on the remains from the hunting that the lion Squinty used to do every day or every 2 or 3 days. I don't know exactly how many times a week lions go for hunting. So the jackal told the lion Squinty, I have an idea for you. I will bring the donkey from the village here. He said, no, 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 that's not possible. How will it believe you? He said, that's my job. So he went to the village and he went to Flopiers the donkey and told him, hey Flopiers, why are you always hauling very heavy products to the customers and working so hard for your owner like that? You can run away and live your life by the river and there's a lot of food there. The donkey said, we are donkeys. We are meant to live with our owners. We are domesticated animals. Even though the labor is hard with them, we can't live without them because they protect us from the predators. So, the jackal Smiley said, no, that's not true. I know 3 female donkeys who ran away in a very safe area And their names are, wait, so these names are very hard. So Sheila, Dila, and Daphne, or Daphne, it's Daphne. So Sheila, Dahlia, and Daphne. So they ran away and they are living a very happy life in a very safe area. But guess what? They were very thin because of working, and now they are very full and muscular, and they are looking for a male donkey. They are feeling lonely. They want to have a male partner. So the donkey said, "You are lying. I cannot believe this story. There is no safety out there in the forest. You're lying to me." So somehow the jackal Smiley convinced him, and he took him to the lion's den. But he told him to stop, like Smiley the jackal told Floppers the donkey to stop at a distance before he reached the lion's den, and he shouted, "Delilah, Sheila, Daphne, here is Floppers." He said that it was an agreement between the jackal Smiley and Squinty the lion. Like this is like the secret word. Like this is a word, a sign. "Sheila, Dahlia, and Daphne, here is Floppers." So the lion, while having very huge pains in his body, like roared. And then Floppers felt scared. He heard the noise. This sound doesn't look like a donkey. So he ran away. And then Smiley the jackal told the lion, the Floppers ran away. He said, "There is no way. We will both die. I cannot hunt and you cannot eat food from the remains of the prey. Who can get Floppers again to our area?" Smiley the jackal said, "Don't worry, that's my job." The Squinty the lion said, "There is no way you can get him back. He heard the roar and he ran away and he will never trust you again." So the Smiley the jackal said, "No, that's my job. I know how to get him back." So he went to Floppers and he told him, "Why did you run away?" Floppers said, "I heard a very hard roar and it doesn't look like a donkey. Doesn't sound like a donkey." He said, "No. Sheila, Dahlia, and Daphne were both very excited and tired from loneliness, so they made this roar." The donkey Flopper said, "No, that's not the sound of the donkey." And then Smiley the jackal told him, "No, donkeys, when they go in the wild, they get stronger and they get muscles and they can do this sound because their vocal cords get strengthened." Floppers believed him and went all the way to the lion's den with Floppers the donkey, and but this time the lion was ready to attack. So he attacked. Squinty the lion attacked the donkey and he died, and they lived by eating Floppers' body for like 1 or 2 weeks. So some people would say this is very kid stories. Why are you telling us that? I said no. Think about it. If someone decided to take you, for example, and you feel unsafe, you were fooled. For example, especially women in this case, you're being fooled by someone. Like someone said your boss wants to meet you, and then you felt that this is not a person who is hired in your company. So what would you do? You have to think like the monkey to get out of the situation. It happened to me during the Egyptian revolution under my house. I was under my building, and many of us know that I live in Maidi. It's a very good neighborhood, and it has at least 40 different nationalities living in it, including Japan, Israel, America, Germany. It is multicultural. I was once downstairs in the building, in the streets, on my way just next door to the reception to the entrance of my building. I just moved like 80 meters away and I found someone following me. So I didn't give him a chance to realize that I realized that he was following. It was slightly after the revolution by a few years. So it was like 2013, 12. And I said, Mama, Mom, I forgot my laptop upstairs. Can you please be there? So I went back, and he is completely unaware of the fact that I realized that he was following. So I went back, called my doorman, and I called the security. There were some people who were in charge of the security in my area. So I called them and I said this guy was following and he ran away as soon as I returned back to the entrance. So, what to do if someone said your boss wants to talk to you and you all of a sudden you realize that he has a fake ID, or you asked him in the way from the cafe to the company some questions and you realize that he's hesitating. He doesn't know the names of your colleague or the names of the security men or women or the doorman or whatever. So you just have to be smart. So, and sometimes such kind of stories, they sound like kids stories, but they can happen in reality. They can happen in reality in other forms. Like we can be followed, we can be fooled, even the strongest men can be fooled. So I like these kind of stories because somehow they can be related to our daily lives. And I also like wisdoms all the time, small wisdoms. So tomorrow or after tomorrow or maybe in 3 days, I will be recording other stories and the book is this big. So it might take some time to finish it all. But I will add to the playlist. I will add these stories to a new playlist. I will be making videos in Arabic also. And I'm anticipating and thinking about having subtitles in different languages, like in French, Spanish, Urdu, and Pashtuni. Like, what is the language of Afghanistan? It's not like that. It's like I do have a feeling that my content has to reach the poor world that doesn't have the privilege of buying these books or getting good education. There are many, many, many unprivileged countries in Africa and in South America, and as you all know, the languages there is French and Spanish. Except for Brazil, they speak Portuguese. I will not be having these subtitles, but I think Spanish would do for Brazil also. So thank you for watching and wait for the next videos.